So I went to see the movie today.
Good, good.
Yeah. Did you see it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I saw it today, and at first I was like, why are they gonna kill the Black Panther? Because okay, how many Superman have they had, and how many Spider-Man have they had, and how many Batman? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Right. They just changed the character, and there's a lot of guys that's out there. I mean, given Chadwick Boseman, really tremendous actor. But there was some guy out there. So that's how I went in. With it like. And then I was talking to Sugar D this morning, and I was saying because originally I was going to do like Misgiving Day because tomorrow Thanksgiving, but then I had this burning desire to do Black Panther, but I hadn't seen the movie, so I went to the movie. I went to the 10:35 show
right
this morning, and caught it. So I'm going to assume, of course, what happens when you do that, that you liked it. You liked it, Minister Shango?
I totally enjoyed it, particularly the issue you're talking about now, to me, was addressed after the credits. For the people who haven't seen it, I'm not going to say any more.
That's right, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So we're going to tell you right now.
Is it a 3-hour movie though? Is it a 3-hour movie?
It's 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Okay, almost 3 hours.
Almost
so, yeah. And now but you know what? The way that they showed previews, of course, Avatar is coming.
Right.
And
okay.
And some other movies, and then the way it opened, you thought, well, maybe this was just another preview, and it wasn't. It just went into the movie, and I thought, Minister Alicia, have you seen the movie? Have you gotten a chance to see it?
Yeah, we've seen it. Well, most of us.
Yeah, that's right. You guys did a whole thing with it. Yeah.
Yeah, most of us have seen it, and very excited. Yeah, it was really good. It's gonna be very difficult, Sugar D, to be talking about this movie and you ain't seen it.
But maybe
I'm not going to be talking about the movie per se. I'm going to be talking about the first movie, but I thought in order, I knew somebody was going to say, "Well, have you seen the movie? Have you seen this one?"
Right.
Yeah. And then and so I didn't want to say no, I haven't seen it. So
Right.
Well, I'm going to see it this weekend then.
Oh, there you go. It's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like 500 million or something? I saw something like that.
Yeah. So far, the second highest grossing of the year and whatnot.
Is that right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see why it was very well done.
Yeah.
My niece Zakia, she was actually in grade school with Ryan Coogler.
Oh.
Yeah. He went to St. Leo's in Oakland.
Okay.
Yeah. So
they have a St. Leo's in Oakland. They have one here in Virginia.
Yes. Yeah. It's all over. Yeah.
I never heard of it until I came to Virginia. So.
Is that right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. I'm not going to give the plot away, but let's wait a couple more minutes before we start. But I thought it was good. But one of the things, what they did do was they brought up natural resources.
Right.
That was so I'm not giving anything away by saying that. That wasn't the main theme, but that was a major point in that movie was, and the exploitiveness of the Europeans,
Yep.
so they put hey Ed, what's going on? and Mona, how you doing?
Good, good. Hello.
Good. I'm glad you made it up this past week. That was a nice
So
surprise
am I.
to see you.
So
Yeah.
am I.
Yeah. Celeste, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm sorry I missed you guys Sunday.
Oh, well,
My
you know
mind
what?
just
We were
wasn't
we were
functioning.
going in and out of technical difficulties, but we finally kind of got it together thanks to Darnisha. You know,
Very good.
I was hoping that Kaba would be there, but at age 27, he has a life of his own, and
Yes.
and he lives in another city. He lives in the Bay Area now. You know,
Okay.
he lives in Berkeley. So
So do you all have an empty nest?
yeah. Well, we've kind of gone back and forth on emptiness. So you know,
Until I come in town, then I'll be in the
yeah,
mix.
then your room's right here. It's on the first floor. Yeah, yeah, and then we won't have an empty nest. So yeah.
Well,
So you know, Ra went away to Howard, and then Cabo went away to San Luis Obispo, and then Ra went to Boston. You know, so we were, yeah, and then Cabo after San Luis Obispo played soccer in Germany for a little while, and so then he moved back, and now he's in he's not in law school officially, but he's in a master's program in law. So and Ra lives in Tucson. So yeah.
well,
Okay.
well, in a couple of years, you can play with the grandkids. Don't worry about it.
You know what? We tell them to don't have them until you're ready.
Yeah. Tell them no hurry.
Yeah. You know, it's I mean, they'll get here soon enough. You know, that's okay. Just
Yeah, because it'll be life changing.
because it's more than a notion, as everyone here knows. All right, hey,
Yeah.
Mama Rose, how are you? And Bob Jeff. So I'm gonna get started. Hey, thank you all for coming. I got into Facebook. Would that be purgatory? So a friend of mine from high school posted something with a swastika on it, but it didn't have the name swastika. So I replied to him, and it had all of the swastikas in history. You know, do you realize that there's a mosaic on a synagogue in Israel with a swastika on? You know,
I didn't realize that, but I realized it has a more benign meaning than it has been transpired these last few years.
Yes. So what Hitler did was to, you know, he turned it around. He turned it from it meaning life to death, which is kind of par for the course. You know, you know, that's unfortunately, and you know, I just want to say that you know, all Europeans are not bad. I have some friends that are European, okay, and some of you do too, and they're genuine. But I mean, their culture, you know, if you look at, and that's one of the things that they say in the movie. You know, they say that openly. I'm surprised that they were able to let what they showed out. Anyway, so I can't advertise on Facebook like because I'm like, I think I got 41 days left. You know, I started out at 59
Facebook jail.
days.
That's what they call it. Facebook jail. That's what you're in.
Facebook jail.
Mhm.
So
Come again?
say again.
What happened?
He's in Facebook jail because he put up the SWAT sticker.
Well, you
that's
know
a
what?
no-no.
You know what I think? The meme that I put had the word swastika in it. I think that was it. You know, and anyway, I found something on YouTube that I'm going to try where, okay, it shows you how to get out of that, you know, quicker. So I'm gonna try that. You know, anyway, I'm posting now more on Instagram. All right. I have a Twitter account, but I've never tweeted. You know, I've never tweeted. You know, I get stuff that people tweet, but I've never tweeted.
Somehow I don't think this would be the time to start.
Yeah. That's what I feel. I feel like, well, this is the reason why. So listen, okay, we're going to talk about the Black Panther. So thank you all for joining us, Bob and Jeff, Mama Rose, everybody.
By the way, the Black Panther is on TV right now.
Is it? Yeah, he's going to be on. Yeah,
the movie right now.
The movie's right. Yeah, he's going to be on. And did I mention you, Kat? Good to see you, bro. All right, here we go. And of course, I have a handy dandy PowerPoint. So you knew that was coming. All right. So this kind of goes back to my childhood, though, you know, when I think about this, you know, like every young man, you know, you have this kind of superhero thing, you know, it goes back to like, remember comic books were 30 cents. Yeah. 30
more like 10 cents, what I remember.
I was gonna say,
yeah, well, see, okay,
that,
well, this one here, this is the one, this is the issue that I had. It was 12 cents.
Right.
Yes.
Well, 12 cents.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and by the way, let me just say, you know what? My internet has been down from 9 o'clock till about maybe 12 minutes before we're started, you know, and it is down in the area. So if for some reason you lose me or something like that, I'm going to be trying to get back in, but you know, if you can't hang around, I'll understand. So I want to give us some freedom writings. You know, we'll say, we kind of say the scriptures are freedom writings. Because one of the first African-American newspapers was called Freedom's Journal. So here in the Philosophies and Opinions of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, he says this. He says, I have a vision of the future, and I see before me a picture of a redeemed Africa with her dotted cities, with her beautiful civilization, with her millions of happy children going to and fro. Why should I lose hope? Why should I give up and take a back seat in this age of progress? Remember that you are men, that God created you lords of this creation. Lift yourselves up, men. Take yourselves out of the mire and hit your hopes to the stars. Yes, raise as high as the very stars themselves. Let no man pull you down. Let no man destroy your ambition, because man is but your companion, your equal. Man is your brother. He is not your Lord. He is not your sovereign master. And so this is found in the book that Amy Jacques Garvey compiled for her late husband, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Let's want to start there. Now, when I first heard of the Black Panther, I was in the 4th grade. And it was in a Fantastic Four comic book. I read all of those Marvel comics. I never read Superman or any of the DC comics. I was more into the Marvel. So Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Thor, you know, X-Men, all of those, Hulk, Captain America, the Avengers. I read all of those.
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern is DC, and
Yeah.
we're going to get to them. We're going to get to him actually. So this is my first. Maybe this is why I'm like I am. So when I read that Fantastic Four comic book, there was a brief mention of the Black Panther, and he was undercover in a high school, and he was a Black studies teacher, and he was explaining what Wakanda was, and it was a Black youth that was kind of clowning him about it. That's what I remember. He was a Black superhero. And before Black Panther, I don't think there were any Black superheroes. That maybe I would stand corrected, but I don't remember any. But the first Captain Marvel was a Black woman. First Captain Marvel, and the character that's in, the sister that's in the Captain Marvel, actually in the comic books, that was her. And here she was. She was very powerful in terms of a cartoon character, you know. Anyway, so this was me back in the day, and I'm sure you know, a lot of other youth like me. You know, this is, and the caption underneath this says, "What's wrong with this picture?" You know, and this was put together by a group, the Black-owned Communications Alliance. You know, it talks about childhood dreams of being a superhero, and, you know, we need to see ourselves, you know, in doing positive things besides playing basketball and singing songs. So let me go back. I never actually did this, but, you know, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. So that Black-owned Communication Alliance, it kind of fizzled out in the 80s. It is most remembered for the powerful Superman consumer ad created by then J.P. Martin and Associates in an effort to speak to consumers and the industry about lack of positive images of Blacks in media. And you know what, you guys can hop in if you have a comment or question. So this is what, you know, fast forward, this is Sunman, and this is, yeah, a lot of people, but this is what my kids played with. You know, this was their toy, Sunman, and okay, you know, Rob was born in 91, Kaba was born in 95, you know, fades were in, you know, so that was their hero. And I bet if I looked around here, I bet Sunman is still around here somewhere.
It's called Sunman?
Sunman, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I've got a copy of the original Sunman before he came out with his fade.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had opportunity to meet the creator and the model for that Sunman doll. Brother was just really cut, almost like that doll. It was at the MacArthur Broadway corner there before Kaiser moved in and put up that new structure. Used to be some small shops there at that corner. And I went by and met him and purchased a doll. I still got it. I don't have the box for it, but I still got my Sunman. All of his accessories, you know, the wings, the shield. He also carries a shield and a sword. And the little comic book that comes with it that tells the story of Sunman, his arch enemy, Pighead.
I think we must have bought this at Betty's store, Betty up here in Sacramento, Culture Collection. I think, and she was in it was the Florin Mall then, which is now leveled in something else, but kind of like the what was that mall you mentioned, Kalabasi?
It was the MacArthur Broadway.
Yeah, MacArthur. Yeah, so this is what my kids played with. And then we would watch, this is getting to what Shango mentioned, we would watch the, what are they called? Justice League. And it had a Black Green Lantern, and his name was John Stewart. Yeah, so, you know, we tried to get him Now I want to move to this guy here, Credo Mutwa. How many have heard of Credo Mutwa? Anyone?
No.
Yeah, well, Credo Mutwa, this is him. Credo Mutwa is a Sangoma, a traditional healer from South Africa. And he's known as an author of books on stories mixing traditional Zulu folklore, extraterrestrial encounters, and his own personal encounters. And he's passed now. I did this PowerPoint back a while, but this was him and his wife, and they ran a hospice in South Africa. He calls himself, so Sugar D, we were talking about Sanyusi. So he calls himself a Sanyusi. And it's a type of Zulu diviner or Sangoma. A Sangoma is a traditional medicine practitioner or shaman of South Africa. Sangomas communicate with the ancestors, work with plant medicine, and use the power of prayer for healing. So that's who that is. And so he makes this statement about the copper city underneath Mount Kilimanjaro. So this is what he says. He says, before human beings were created on this planet, there had existed a very wise race of people known as the Imani Ukala. These people had come from the constellation known to white people as Orion, and they had inhabited our earth for thousands and thousands of years. And that before they left our earth to return once more to the sacred spider constellation, they had made a great evacuation under the earth, beneath the Missouri Mountains, the mountains of the moon. Deep in the bowels of Mother Earth, the Imani Ukala built a city of copper buildings, a city with a wall of silver around it, a city built at the huge mountain of pure crystal. Now, this is in South African folklore. And here's Missouri Mountain Range. When we talk about the Missouri Mountain Range, we're talking about like this area. You know, and these are places where the source of the Nile is. Lots going on there, you know. So Missouri is the source of the Nile. So there's actually two Niles. There's the White Nile that forms in the highlands of the Missouri Mountain Range, and then that flows from south to north and joins with some other waters in Ethiopia called the Blue Nile, and together those form the Nile and go all the way out. It's 4,100 miles long and goes and empties into the Mediterranean Sea. But the Missouri Mountain Range, and this is Mount Kilimanjaro. It looks magnificent, you know, majestic. And we had a friend that had gone to Kenya, and he didn't go up Mount Kilimanjaro, but he hiked up Mount Kenya, you know, which is on the same parallel as this mountain. And you know, he was saying that they had all their, you know, you have all the heavy coats and, you know, all the utilities that you use to climb up mountains. And as they were going, it was a Maasai coming down the mountain. He just had on, you know, traditional, you know, he's barefoot, and he just walked, you know, he had a stick, and he just walked down the mountain, you know. Yeah. So this is how it looks from space. Kilimanjaro is seen from space. And okay, in the comic books, this is Wakanda'S location. So here we have Wakanda, here we have the Missouri Mountain Range. Not exactly the same, but rather close, I would say. So Credo Mutwa, he continues, he says, this old woman told me that her grandmother had told her this story while she was still a virgin of some 15 years or so, undergoing initiation into the mysteries and culture of the Bahutu people. Tibetans came looking for this sacred mountain. The old woman went on to tell me that many generations ago, there came to the land of the Bahutu a group of yellow-skinned men who wore colorful robes, strangely brightly colored hats. These men, she said, had come in search of the great city of knowledge, which they had heard many, many years ago stands in the earth under the mountains of the moon, the Razuri Mountains. The mountain of knowledge, the mountain from which all knowledge on earth comes, a mountain to which all knowledge on earth ultimately returns. This is in their folklore. You know, I don't think Credo Mutua read Stan Lee's Black Panther. You know, and then, you know, just there was a lot of research on this. Wakanda, actually, you can find this word. It's a Native American Sioux origin. It means inner magical power. I love this scene. You know, one day we'll get there. So Wakanda, a supernatural force similar to mana, believed by the Sioux to pervade and animate, to pervade animate and inanimate objects in varying degrees, sometimes giving them extraordinary powers. So that's interesting. This word is connecting with the Native American. Wakanda, and usually assumed to be the cause of extraordinary happenings. So they did a really good job, you know, projecting a futuristic African society. So there's similarities between Wakanda and other African civilizations, ancient and modern. So here, you know, we see the Black Panther making that cross symbol, but this symbol went, you know, all over Kemet. And this is Sinrose Ret, the first. And to me, Dr. Obenga, you think that too, Katabasi? Do you think that too?
The first thing I thought when I saw it, and I was thinking how much he reminded me of Dr. Obenga. You know, especially around the mouth,
yeah,
nose area.
Yeah. You know, unfortunately, a lot of our statues around the world that have the broad nose and lips, a lot of times those are chipped off. Unfortunately, I mean, even in India, when you go back and you look at some of those ancient, those are Black people, but somebody didn't like it. You know, somebody, I don't know who, I don't want to speculate who that could be. Yeah, all right. So, and then in Mali, see, they do that all over Africa. And it represents the manifestation of God within. This God self is called Pharaoh. Now, what does that sound like? Pharaoh and Mendi. So that's like Sierra Leone. Somebody just came from there. Right there on the West Coast, you know, Liberia. Both of these African deities represent the manifestation of God within. And here, when I went to this a temple of Sinrose Ret, it's called the White Chapel. I wish I had taken off this black thing. I had a camera around my neck and I threw it around. I wish I had taken it off all the way. I had this hat on. And but anyway, I'm making the sign there. And I got a chance to go into the Red Pyramid, and the Red Pyramid is in a place called Dashur, and you know, getting it, it's almost as big as the Great Pyramid, you know, and getting down into it is more than a notion. But when I got in there, for some reason I did this and somebody snapped my picture. All right, and so this symbolism is an ancient and modern symbolism. So here in Kemet, the leopard, because that's really what a panther is a leopard with all the spots connected. You know, it's like that with a jaguar. But it was something very important about that, and still to this day in our culture. So here's a Kemetic priest. Here's a brother rocking the leopard skin. Here's another Kemetic priest. Have the, you know, and this is the symbol that they used in the movie for the Black Panther. This is a symbol that was used. Okay, and here King Tut. He's riding on a Black Panther. There's that symbol. Anybody know what this says? Anybody? So you see this here, this like kind of bowl or cup. This is Neb, Keper Ra, Lord Keper Ra. That's what that's saying there. And do you know that Jesus in the ancient times was identified with the Black Panther? He was called Yeshua Ben-Dera, son of the Black Panther. And I'm thankful to, I think we all are, as African Americans, we're thankful to Astra Kwesi, because he was the first person that I saw that introduced this figurine. And here, so before they were portraying Christ on a cross, nailed to the cross, this is the way that they would portray him. And Astra, in his one of his videos, he said he went to the British Museum and he had his cameras and stuff, and he saw this brother that was security guard. He says, "What you coming to do?" He says, "I'm coming to tell our story." And he said, "Well, let me take you down to this place." And that's where this was. But you see, this symbol is found throughout history. It's just, you know, there's just a repeating of things over and over again. You know, what's that phrase? There's nothing new under the sun. You know, it just happens over and over again. So I want to thank Astra, and I have to say this. It's I don't know why I'm saying it, but my first trip to Kemet was coincide with the same time as Astra Kwesi. That's how I met him. It was in 1981. And of course, he went 17 times. He's probably still there. He's probably there now as we're talking. But I'm thankful that he would point out these things. Here again. Now this one here is found in the catacombs of Domelita. This is how Christ was portrayed. Short fro, you know, carrying a lamb on his back. And the catacombs of Domelita, you know, and I didn't include it in this presentation, but it has like one of the earliest Lord's Supper pictures. Okay, so there's a Black Panther study guide, and it's put out by the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss III. He's senior pastor of Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. So there's all kind of stuff out. We're doing things all over the place. So the Black Panther, here it is, and this was a milestone movie. When it came out, it was woo. It's something that I had been waiting for since 1968. Okay, yeah. And there's Ryan Coogler, the director, and Joe Robert Cole, he was the writer, and this sister here, Ruth Carter, she's a costume designer. And there's a Black Panther cartoon, and this is an excerpt from it. And this kind of sums up like a theme in the Black Panther story. So here we have this European, probably somebody from the United States. Your Majesty will pay whatever price you set for your goods. And then he tells them, they're not for sale until the spiritual advancement of the West catches up to their technological prowess. It would be irresponsible to share our scientific discoveries with you. And the guy says, what? Are you calling everyone here irresponsible children? He said, no, more like sullen teenagers who feel more mature than their behavior warrants. The fact that every conversation is framed in terms of profit and power says it all. And you know what? That's in the new movie. That's being said. I'm not giving anything away. That's being said in the new movie in one form or another. So now what is the natural resource? Vibranium. And then somebody put it on the periodic table. So vibranium, what is it? Vibranium found in Wakanda absorbs sound waves and other vibrations, including kinetic energy. Absorbing sound waves, vibrations, and kinetic energy makes this metal stronger. It was discovered by the Wakandan ancestors. To protect this resource, they concealed their country from the outside world. T'Chaka funded his country's education by occasionally selling off minuscule quantities of the metal. As a result, Wakanda is one of the world's most technologically advanced nations. So now we've been talking about stuff that's fantasy, and you know what? Everything that is under the sun comes from somebody's mind. Somebody thought about it. They had a visualization, and they were able to bring it from the unmanifested state to the manifested state. And so this is how things evolve. So, you go back to beam me up, Scotty, and then you get the flip phone. Captain Picard in his ready room, he's looking at a screen, and then Steve Jobs comes up with the iPad, and so on. I really liked Deep Space Nine. Avery Brooks was brilliant, and my friend, I have a friend. His name is Albert, and Albert is really into science fiction. As a matter of fact, Albert's son, they named him John Luke. So he's really into it. And he explained this to me, and I didn't understand this until he said it. So if you look at that story in Deep Space Nine and the character that Avery Brooks plays, he is the Son of God. Because when you get to the very last season, you find out that his mother was a prophet, and she came to Earth. And so he's actually the Son of God. But anyway, it's showing the technology here in this picture. All right, so let's talk about something real. Leave vibranium for a little bit and talk about coltan. What is coltan? Coltan is tin, tungsten, and tantalum. And more than 80% of the world's rare mineral known as coltan is found in the Democratic Republic of Congo, one of the world's poorest countries. Coltan is a vital component in cell phone, circuit boards, and other technological products, such as computer games, consoles, and other stuff. So you can't make these, this computer that I'm talking to you on, this phone, you can't make this without coltan. And I found this this article from coltan to vibranium, how Marvel's Black Panther mirrors real life issues in Africa today, by Tom Bacon. It's a conflict mineral. Coltan is a dull, I'm sorry, somebody wanted to say something? Anyone? Oh, okay. So it's a dull metallic ore found in the Congo. When refined, it becomes a metal called tantalum. It's heat resistant. It's a heat resistant powder that can hold high electrical charge. It's a vital component in modern capacitors. It is used in almost all laptops, cell phones, and pagers. Now, moving on, and this is a bad part, but life isn't always a host of pleasantries and platitudes. But so Congo's ice-tree, that's a Rasta term, it is filled with atrocities. So how many are familiar with King Leopold's story? So this book was written, it's called King Leopold's Ghost. And King Leopold killed 15 million Africans. Why don't we know about him like we know about Hitler? Because we need to always put this out. We need to talk about what is going on what happened in the Belgian, quote unquote, Belgian Congo. 15 million people. I can't imagine 1 million people being killed, but 15 million people. Mark Twain wrote about it. There was a Black bookstore in this area. It was called Carol's Books. And I went into Carol's Books one day, and she was always presenting me books. And she says, "Imhotep, are you familiar with King Leopold's soliloquy?" I said, "No." And so she actually gave me this book, King Leopold's Soliloquy, to read. Mark Twain was writing about it. And usually we talk, when we think about Mark Twain, we think about Huckleberry Finn and all these, but Mark Twain wrote this book, King Leopold's Soliloquy, exposing to the world at the time, in real time, what was happening in the Congo. So here's Africa after the Belgian, Berlin and Belgian conference. So these conferences that took place in 1884 and 1886, the British took one part, the French took another part, the Portuguese took another part, the Spanish took another part, the Germans took another part, the Belgians took another part, the Italians, for a brief time in Ethiopia. What the part that they had was Eritrea. This is part of the conflict that's still going on between Eritrea and Ethiopia, because the Ethiopians in some way view the Eritreans, even though they're the same ethnic group, for the most part, the Shoa and Amhara people, and Tigray is more in Eritrea. They kind of view them as the traitors, because they they kind of took sides with the Italians. But this is what Europeans did to the African continent. And so now it hasn't changed that much. You know, it's got all of these corporate entanglements, all of these things going on. You know, and so we want to try to say, well, I remember one time people said, well, I'm not going to do shell gas, or I'm not going to do Chevron. You can't do no gas. You know, anyone, they're there. British Petroleum. So here, this is after 1884, and this is now. And you know what? This picture doesn't include what the Chinese are doing now. The Chinese are there. But Africa, the motherland, has a lot of natural resources, and this is just a few. You know, there's iron, there's cotton, there's gold, there's uranium, there's petroleum, there's crude oil, there's diamonds, there's grains, there's coffee, there's all kinds of stuff. Copper, all in Africa. Coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I understand the coffee in Africa is good. It's really good.
Particularly in Ethiopia.
Yes, that's what I hear. Now, Sheikh Anta Diop wrote, in addition to African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, he also wrote this book, The Economic and Cultural Basis for Black Africa, The Economic and Cultural Basis of a Federal State. So here's the book. And there he is, the late, great Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. He made one trip. He did come to Atlanta. He did make it to Atlanta. Dr. Asa Hilliard and the brother that we had on our Black Knowledge Matters a couple of weeks back, Brother Robert Belcher. He was part of that group that brought Sheikh Anta Diop to the United States. And so in his book, he made a compendium of energy sources. So he says, okay, Africa has hydraulic energy, it has solar energy, it has atomic energy, it has thermonuclear energy, it has wind energy, a thermal energy of the seas, tidal energy, global heat, volcanic thermal energy. He broke down all of these are in his book. Geothermal energy. So there's a basis for, and what he was saying in his book. I didn't mean to go back. Go back one more. So what he was saying in this book is this, if you study this book, you could see how Africa could be the United States of Africa. And how we didn't know, we wouldn't need to go outside of Africa. Everybody all right? Let me stop here. You guys okay? You know, I don't know. Is this boring you or? Oh, hey, yeah. Terrell, what's going on, man? Thanks. Terrell gave me the thumbs up, so that's it. All right, Mona, are you with us? Okay. Oh, we'll be in her subconscious. All right.
But the problem is the Africans think of themselves as on a continent, so they don't see themselves as a holistic unit, and that's the problem.
You know, some do and some don't. That's you know, there are Pan-Africanists, and there is you know, a what do I want to say? There is a view of a United States of Africa by some, and you know, as soon as that thought is really propelled, then the powers that be do what they can to disrupt it. That, you know, and one such person that had that view was Muammar Gaddafi.
And look what happened to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Patrice Lumumba, we're talking about that. He's more of a nationalist, but they got rid of him after about 6 months in office.
Well, that's funny you should mention that. We're going there. So, as I said before, that Africa is the Congo is filled with atrocities. And this is a good book, King Leopold's Ghost. And so one of the first things that they were looking for were rubber. And they would cut people's hands off if they wouldn't bring enough rubber.
That's so.
And, you know, I don't want to, I know this is a controversial statement because, you know, we're all over the place. Some of us are Moors, some of us are Hebrew Israelites, some of us, you know, all these different things. But, you know, and some people, they wear fezzes in the Congo. The people with the fezzes were working with the colonizers, with the oppressors. And here, I don't know if you can see, let me move this. Can you see that? See, we're whipping each other.
Yeah.
See, here are some brothers holding somebody's hands. Here's a father looking at his daughter's hands that have been chopped off. Yeah.
Minister, you know, people always talk about, you know, blacks and welfare. We don't need no welfare. All we need is for people to stop stealing from us and give us back what they stole, all of it. You know, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen without a fight. That's yeah. That's kind of par for the course. That's I mean, you can go back to Greece and Rome with respect to Kemet. You can go back to Rome with respect to Carthage. You know, the Carthaginians. Originally, the Carthaginians the Carthaginians or the Carthagins, they viewed the island of Sicily as theirs. Okay, so I digress, but the same thing happened if you didn't get enough copper. So they went from rubber to copper. And these pictures were kind of like banned because they didn't want the world to know. But these pictures are coming right out of that book, King Leopold's Ghost. And our minister, Shango, mentioned Patrice Lumumba. He was overthrown with the aid of the CIA and the colonial powers. And who did they use to do it? Us.
Yep. Eisenhower was involved in that too. Him and Charles de Gaulle.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's the history and the tactic of these Europeans. They use assassination as a tool for keeping themselves in power and access to cheap resources for them. They also were instrumental in the assassination of Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso.
Yes.
Again, they used our own people, the ones that Amma refers to as the Askaris. And I think that's a very fitting term. And I think we need to use that term more to expose a lot of these betraying Black people. He calls them the Askaris. So they sent them in, they murdered Thomas Sankara and much of his leadership.
Yes.
A number of other people.
Yes, yes. So this is why we as African people need to practice one love. I mean, down to the bone. Because if we loved each other, this would not happen.
When you were talking about the Congo, this one guy, he says he's an ex-CIA agent. I don't know if such a thing exists, but at any rate, he says his name is or either was John Stockman, and he said that when he first went to the Congo, there was no violence. But so what he did is he, would say something like, well, they said that your grandmother wore combat boots. And then on the other side, he'll say that your father was whatever. And so he had them fighting. But it wasn't until, he got there that they had that serious problem, though, that they that was part of it at any rate.
Yeah. So really, we need to just across the board, across tribal issues, organizational issues, we really need to practice one love. And I know that sounds really namby-pamby, that really sounds like, like Rodney King, can't we just all get along? But that's really what we should practice.
How though? How can we get there?
That's a good question. Not able to get that. I just want to tell you that mining for this is what's happening today, mining for coltan. It hasn't gone away.
Right. Same thing about blood diamonds.
Yes. Mining for coltan. Look at the people. Do they benefit?
Nope.
From the use of this? No. Even the children are used.
Yep.
And soldiers maintain the workforce. Coltan, and this is the way it looks. The conflict mineral coltan is a dull, repeat this, coltan is a dull metallic ore found in the Congo. When refined, it becomes a metal called tantalum, a heat-resistant powder that can hold a high electrical charge. It is a vital component in modern capacitors and is used in almost all laptops, cell phones, and pagers. I don't know. Do they still have pagers? But anyway. So T'Challa, the Black Panther. They use some comedic terms in there, and it starts talking about a goddess by the name of Bess, a netter by the name of Bess, according to Wakanda legend. When the 5 tribes fought for control of Wakanda, a warrior shaman received a vision from Bast, which led him to the heart-shaped herb, granting him power to become the king and first Black Panther. In the Wakandan mythology, when the soul of a man reaches the afterlife, he is brought by the goddess Bast and Sekhmet to a mythical green valley where it can run freely and in peace for all eternity. T'Chaka believed in this myth, while his son T'Challa did not, until he met his father in the ancestral plane. So and I found this meme back a while, and it says, before Europeans taught you that black cats were bad luck, she was a goddess in ancient Kemet by the name of Bas or Bastet. Black cats were known for keeping evil spirits away. And I think we need to bring them back in our life. And here is I found this rare. You don't usually see this Basset as a Madonna with a child. And Here, Bast is a netter of the home, domesticity, women's secrets, cats, fertility, childbirth. She protected the home from evil spirits and disease, especially diseases associated with women and children. As with many Kemetic divine principles, she also played a role in the afterlife as a guide and helper to the dead, although this was not one of her primary duties. She was the daughter of the sun netter Ra and is associated with the concept of the eye of Ra, the all-seeing eye, and the distant netter, a female deity whom leaves Ra and returns to bring transformation. So they have some heavy concepts in this movie. And Sekhmet. Now, I've been to Sekhmet's temple, and sometimes, and I didn't take these pictures, but you know, some of the pictures that I took, they came out like this. It's something about that temple. There's a hole in the ceiling where sun hits it, and at a certain point during the day, you know that whole room lights up, and it's shining right on Sekhmet. And here's another thing about Sekhmet. And here, you know, they have women's breast in the statue, and this is, you know, this is from an anatomy book. This top one. So a lot of things our ancestors reveal. You know, you really have to study, you know, and not just look at it at face value. And these are some real Black Panthers. So, you know, really a Black Panther is a leopard with all the spots connected. Now, moving on, and you know, I was saying earlier that things just repeat over and over. So there's this movie, it's called King Solomon's Mine. It was done in 1951. And this is Deborah Carr, and I think this is Stuart Granger. I don't know who these other guys are. But now here they are with some Watusis. And notice their hairstyle.
Very good movie.
Yeah, and here is a still shot from King Solomon's Mine. And here, so what's taking place here? They're trying to find this woman's husband, you know, and they are really looking for diamonds. And her husband got lost, and she contacted or contracted these guys to go into the bush to help her find her husband. And along the way, they meet this Watusi, and they just thought, you know, he was just, you know, just a native tribesman. And so then they come, that's him. And what he does when he gets there, he challenges this usurper for the throne, because he's really the king. So I'd like to pause just a second. So here he is. And this is what Job, again, he's pointing out. See, Ramses or Ramessu's helmet, so-called helmet, is really a hairstyle. I mean, this is going back thousands of years. This is like 1950s. It's really a hairstyle. And if you look closer, there's swirls of Africoid hair. And here, this same hairstyle is in this movie, portrayed in this movie. And so he reveals his markings. He takes off his tunic, and here he has this scarification. And this is repeated. with Killmonger. It's got the scarification. Things are repeated over and over in movies. Now, there's this movie, it's called The Cradle of the World. Djimon Hounsou and Angelina Jolie. And they're looking for the cradle of the world. And they have this orb to guide them. And so then she goes and she meets the elders at the cradle of the world. They show you in movies in Africa, the cradle of the world. What did Krita Mutua talk about with the Missouri mountain range? So these Africans, they go and escort her to the cradle of civilization, which is, by the way, underneath Mount Kilimanjaro. All right, we're coming to the end. So going back to the real Black Panthers, I feel honored. I grew up down the street from where the Black Panthers rallies were. There was a place called Defirmary Park. It was renamed Bobby Hutton Park because Bobby Hutton was a 16-year-old youth that was a Black Panther. And when the police came and surrounded the Black Panthers, they ordered them to come out. And to show that he was unarmed, he took his shirt off. So he came out bare-chested, hands up, and he was shot anyway. And the community renamed the park, Defirmary Park, Bobby Hutton Park. So the Black Panthers, they had a 10-point program. We want freedom. We want the power to determine the destiny of our community. We want full employment for our people. We want an end to the robbery by the white man of our Black community. We want decent housing fit for shelter of human beings. We want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in present-day society. We want all Black men to be exempt from military service. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people. We want freedom for all Black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. We want all Black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in a court by a jury of their peer group or people from their Black community as defined by the Constitution of the United States. We want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. And oddly enough, when you see T'Challa, there he is, posed like Huey. Now I have a friend that I grew up with. Well, he grew up in the same area as me. He was a little bit older than me, but we became friends later in life. And he used to work at UC Davis, and was working with Sister Leslie Campbell and Kofi Kandwani and others, bringing Black scholars to UC Davis and actually organizing Black Family Day, which was very popular up until like about maybe 15 years ago, where hundreds, perhaps thousands of Black people would come to UC Davis campus. So he told me this story. He says one day there was this crowd, and it was so this was on Grove Street, which is now Martin Luther King Street, and there was a liquor store, and there was a parking lot. It was a group of Black people, and he came up on a group of Black people, and it was a white policeman, and he was slapping this sister back and forth, just slapping her, and you know, the big crowd of Black people, nobody doing anything. And so he said, then this little skinny kid came up in a midi leather coat, and he said, stop hitting her. And the police turned around and said, what are you gonna do, little N-word? He opened up his coat and he had a machine gun. He said the police left that scene, and he said the next time he saw that skinny kid, he was on the back of the Black Panther newspaper. It was Huey Newton. And in the story, they have the ancestral tree. I mean, it's really complex, and a lot to this whole Black Panther story. They even show him communing with the ancestors. And here are major characters of the movie. They have some additional ones coming up in this one that just was released. And you know what I like? So this is kind of like Ghanaian, you know, and this is Nigerian, and they're like South African. So they do a whole Pan-African thing. They don't just confine it to one ethnic group. They have it kind of spread out throughout the continent. And I even found this Wakanda passport. Do you have your Wakanda passport, sisters and brothers? And let's conclude here. Listen to the words of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. I have a vision of the future, and I see before me a picture of a redeemed Africa, with her dotted cities, with her beautiful civilization, with her millions of happy children going to and fro. Why should I lose hope? Why should I give up and take a back place in this age of progress? So as bad as things seem, we can't lose hope, sisters and brothers. Remember that you are men and women. It's the way that people talked in the 20s, that God created you lords of this creation. Lift yourselves up, men, and take yourselves out of the mire and hitch your hopes to the stars. Yes, rise as high as the very stars themselves. Let no man pull you down. Let no man destroy your ambition. Let no man, because man is but your companion, your equal. Man is your brother. He is not your Lord. He is not your servant master. So when we look at modern Africa today, here's Botswana. Here's Nairobi, Nigeria, Durban, South Africa, Black Panther phenomenon. Thank you for listening.
I think you could have had a picture of Cape Town. It looks more like San Francisco on the wall.
See what I mean? You can't please people. You put all this stuff and then they come up with this. I mean, what else does you just can't please them. All right. Okay, it's 6:14.
This was really good. I enjoyed every minute of it. So I thought you changing that was a good thing.
You didn't want to hear about the pilgrims and
No,
Turkey?
No, but I tell you what, people been saying to me basically all day, especially my parents coming in and out, you know, happy Thanksgiving. I said, well, happy Misgiving Day. And they look at me and say, Misgiving Day? And I tell them, and they say, you know, Miss Doris, you always got something.
Yep.
But they thought about it though. It was thought provoking, and they say, you know what, you're right. You know, you're right.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we all live with that, you know, as members of the Wose community. You know, we're probably the kind of off-centered ones within the broader family, but you know, we have to keep on sharing our truths when necessary and standing on that truth, and allow others to catch up or you know, continue to stand still. Earlier,
Yeah.
we had mentioned that the redrawing of the borders in Africa, and Ilima, I don't know if you all have heard much about him, but he's in South Africa. He's an activist. He's part of a group called Economic Form something. It's an acronym. And he's been calling for the dropping of borders and passports for about 2 years that I've been listening to him, possibly before that. He's very strong, very outspoken. I fear for his life, but he's one of those strong voices coming out of South Africa that you know, we should be familiar with him and get to know some of the things that he's saying, because he's saying a lot of the same things that we're saying and advocating. Ilima, Elima.
I've seen him speak. I've seen speeches by him. Yeah. You know, now just on another note, if you want to, because I was going to use this, and I've talked about this before, but so there's this book, and I think that Brother Tayemba was a part of this brother's church. So there's this book. It's called African People, European Holidays, A Mental Genocide.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was Reverend Ishaka Musa Boroshango. And he was the pastor. This was in Washington, D.C. He was the pastor of the Church of the Black Messiah. So he wrote this book. This is part one. And then so in part one, it has like Thanksgiving, and it has Christmas, and, you know, it really goes into in depth about it. And then part two is this one here, which deals with the 4th of July.
Well,
so if you'd like to get further information, these go back to 1983. African People, European Holidays, A Mental Genocide by Ishaka Musa Boroshango.
Stepping back a bit, I have 2 questions. One is, what's the miss part of giving stand for?
So it's misgiving. Instead of saying Thanksgiving, you know, and it's looking at how what really happened with the encounter of the Europeans and the Native Americans, and what mental condition the Europeans were in. They were half starving, you know, by the time the winter came, and the native people actually kept them alive. I mean, it talks about the cannibalism that was going on among those first early settlers, you know. So and it's well refereed. I mean, it has some really good references. So that's what it's referring to.
Okay.
And
did you
so
guys?
I'm sorry. Just one more thing. So for Thanksgiving, he says Misgiving Day. For Christmas, he says the Merry Mess. And for the 4th of July, he says the 4th of July. And you know what's good in that one, and this is my first time running across it, but now you can go on YouTube and find many different renditions, including James Earl Jones' rendition of, so Frederick Douglass he was asked to make a speech on the 4th of July. and it is really what's the word I'm looking for? Katabasi, you're the wordsmith. It's
called it riveting.
Yeah, it's riveting, but it's also like it's like, don't insult me by asking, you know, this don't mean anything to me as a Black person in this country. You know, he just lets it all out.
It's
you know,
very long.
Yeah, and when so Frederick Douglass, when you know, he just wasn't a speaker. Sometimes he would have to punch people out, you know, during his speech. You know, he wasn't afraid to knock people out. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, when he was 17, he broke the slave breaker. You know, so yeah, so you can just let's look for it. Let's see what it says here. I'm going to type in Frederick Douglass address.
Seems like to me they had a few people do that, including a set of children or teens last 4th of July.
Yeah, that is, but I'm telling you, the first time I saw it was in. Okay, here's a version of it here. Let's see.
It's very long.
It is, but most people just use this part. Let's just look at it just briefly. So can everybody see that?
Right.
So let's see. This is the gist of it. He was talking in 18. This is before 1776. So he says, "What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness, swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgiving with all your religious parade and solemnity are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes to which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour."
Yes.
Amen.
He told them, man.
So that's, and so Reverend Ishaka Musa Boroshango, he Jeff put in 1852 or 2022. Yeah. So we kind of you know, I don't know if you guys remember, but we show that we play it. James Earl Jones does a really good job doing it.
Right.
And so does William Marshall, the guy that played Blackula. He does a really good job. Howard Zinn, who wrote A People's History of the United States, not an African, but a very good historian, would call different people from different parts of the United States to address these different themes. And one night he had James Earl Jones talking about it. So, okay, yes, Sister Judy, you have your hand up. Go ahead. Take yourself off mute.
Yes. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I enjoyed the presentation. I also thought that we were going to be discussing the movie, but maybe everybody's not seen it yet.
Yeah, we're not. You know what? We can't because everybody's not seen it. You know
right.
What?
I understand.
If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't mind you guys telling me because I'm going to go anyway. But not everybody's like me. So
No, I understand. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I hope that we do get to discuss it at some point.
you know what? I think we should. I think we should ask everybody to check it out and then come back, because there's some things that I saw in there that I may have missed that you picked up. You know, certain things that I'm not sensitive to that you may be sensitive to. I noticed a lot of things, and there was a theme about natural resources. You know, that was, and so we kind of covered that this evening. You know.
Right. I enjoyed it. Thank you. Happy Day of Thanks, which is every day, to everyone.
Yes, indeed.
All righty. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. And so everybody is going to get with their family in some way, shape, or form, you know, and just love, you know, love everyone up, you know, love up your family, love up your friends, you know, take time out. Nobody's thinking about the Pilgrims, you know.
No.
I
And
mean,
also, whenever
because if you research their history, you know, you're like,
yeah.
you know.
Also, you know, I look at it too. This is the time when people that work, not everybody works, but for us, Black people that work, this was our time off. I mean,
Sure.
they gave us time
Yeah,
off.
yes,
So
yes.
guess what? Families got together
Yes.
for the time off.
Yes, 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 indeed. Yes, indeed.
But Mr. Imhotep, the thing that you didn't discuss as far as our beloved Pilgrims is after these people, the natives, saved their lives, how they treated them back is they went out on their ships, went down towards their village, shot it all up, got the chief out, chopped his head off, and stuck it on a pipe. And they used that as their Thanksgiving. Okay.
Well, thank you for that image. All right, all right. Judy, do you have your hand up again? Are you raising your hand again, Sister Judy?
No.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
I didn't take it down.
No, I just lowered it. Hey, Damani, how you doing? Go ahead, Celeste.
So the second thing I was going to ask was, I have missed a few Black Knowledge Matters. Did we ever discuss the Woman King?
We have not. We have not discussed the Woman King. That is
people
another
seen
one.
It?
That is another one that you know what though, I hate to get into arguments with people. So me and Doris went to go see the Woman King. We saw it we didn't see it opening day, but I think it was like the day after. We came home and I posted on Facebook. I saw this movie, and you know, I thought it was really good. And 95% of the respondents were positive, but then, okay, you know, not everybody liked that movie. Not everybody is on board with the theme, right. and so that I don't want to get into argument. I really don't. But you know what, Professor Smalls, and we're trying to get him to come back to Black Knowledge Matters. You know, of course, he's in high demand wherever. But Professor Smalls did a program on the Michael Imhotep show. Excellent program. And so this is somebody that's not only a scholar, but he's actually, you know, he's been to that palace that's in the Woman King. He's a Babalao. He's been to that area like over 30 times. You know, and so he was able to speak not only from a scholarly point of view, but from a experiential point of view. And I would suggest, you know, just search for Professor Smalls on the Michael Imhotep show.
Excellent.
And it's
he also
really good.
He was a consultant on.
Yes, he was a consultant. Yes, he was. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mona. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. That's right. Mm-hmm. But you're right. We should discuss it, but you know, just some things I just don't want to argue with people. I don't want to, you know, I really don't. You know, one of the names, one of the subjects of my name is peace. The other one is sacrifice. You know, and I really do not want to fight with any other Black people. I don't want to get into arguments. I don't want to, you know, I want you to have your opinion, you know, and you know, but some of the responses, and they were from WOSE members, you know, and somebody wrote it, I can't believe that this is a WOSE member. I said, yeah, well, you know, we come from all walks of life, all points of view. So, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that's a very controversial subject. And I would really like, when we do it, Celeste, that it not be a session of arguing, criticizing, and so, yeah.
Minister, on Democracy Now,
Yes.
and Native American woman said that not the Mayflower, but what you were just talking about never happened. Thanksgiving, none of that stuff happened. That's what she said. So I don't know, you know.
Well, no, that's what Boris Shango says. That's what he you know, it's a total fabrication. You know, it's right up there with Santa Claus. You know,
What's the total fabrication?
Yeah. So here, let me before we go, sisters and brothers, I want Sister Tony made this wonderful flyer for us. So for next week, we will have Dr. Akmal, and he's going to be talking about healing wellness. The topic is cleansing and detoxify, and probably we'll need that after our feast, because sometimes we go too far. I have not, you know, this is not a bragging or anything, it's just a factual thing. I stopped eating beef. Let me back up. I stopped eating pork in 1975. I stopped eating beef in 1980. I continued with poultry all the way up to 2013. And as a matter of fact, before 2013, we used to fry turkeys. People would come over and bring their turkeys, and I would end up frying like 3 or 4 turkeys. You know, and you eat all this stuff, and you don't really need it. And I mean, it's good. I mean, it tastes good. You know, it tastes good. But so Dr. Akmal is going to be talking about detoxifying after that. So let yourself go for a day, and come back next week, and we'll learn about detoxification. Anyway, I'm so glad that everyone is here. Each person, name and picture that appears on here means so much to me. And I love you all. So if there's no further business to discuss.
I want you to go and look on YouTube and Get Out of Jail.
I am.
Minister, about Tarzan, I like to watch the old Tarzan movies because the last time I watched the black and white ones, I saw George Jefferson's mother-in-law as one of the tribe's people. Oh, so every once in a while they'll have, you know, stars that usually, you know, well, they do what they do, but they have the stars that weren't stars then, which is the only way they can get in the movies is to take those bit parts. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's hard for me to watch those, but I'm glad you saw that. You know what, you know, and we were talking about this, you know, with respect to First Fridays and other things. And we were actually working on, you know, like showing, you know, having like a movie night, you know, asking people to see a particular movie and then discuss it and show different parts. So, you know, some of the movies that came up were like Cabin in the Sky. I may have seen Cabin in the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that movie?
Nope.
It's classic.
Classic.
What's the movie with Lena Horne and Bojangles Robinson? Come on, help me out. You guys know. So there's another movie where everybody in the Bible is black. It's called Green Pastures.
Green Pastures.
That's a good movie. Rex Ingram, he's God. He's Adam. He's you know. What's another one? I'm trying to think of the Lena Horne movie. It's really popular. Lena Horne and the Nicholas brothers are in it. And
Stormy Weather.
Stormy Weather. Thank you.
Stormy Weather.
Yeah. So we're talking. There's also the Spook Who Sat by the Door. We could
Fantastic.
review.
That was good.
Review that.
Fantastic.
So anyway, the possibilities are endless. I hope that you will continue on the journey with us. Hope you have a great holiday, communing with your family and friends in one love, one heart, one God, one aim. All right. Guidance and protection along the way. Live up.